Hey, welcome everyone to the Blue BRZ podcast hosted by yours truly. My name is Eli. I hope everyone's having a wonderful night. If you're new to the car scene or new to podcasts, you're in the right place. We're going to be talking about everything from first builds all the way to first blown motors over here, so I hope you'll stay along for the ride. This will be our third episode of the season. We'll be talking about thoughts on the car scene from a woman's perspective. This is one topic that I felt as though needed to have some light shined on top of it. So without further ado, I have two lovely guests perfect to talk about this topic. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi guys, my name is Diana. I drive a 2016 Mustang GT. I've grown up in the car scene since I could remember. I grew up around, my whole family was into cars, and so I naturally just fit into that, and happy to be here.
Perfect, beautiful. So Diana, actually touching up a little bit more on that, what were your initial thoughts when you got into the car scene? You said that you started at a young age, you were interested in cars and everything, but what really got you hooked onto it?
Yeah, so my entire family, we're all involved in the car business, whether my close family, my dad, he has a gas station, he sells used cars, and my dad, he obviously loved cars. His first car was a Trans Am, and the earliest memory I can remember was my dad got a 79 Chevelle SS, and I remember when I was super young, and I remember hearing the exhaust, and then that kind of just from there it was like,
the exhaust note, that's what got you, it's reeled you in.
Yeah. But so naturally I've always been into cars. It wasn't until maybe I'd say college that I really, so my second car was a Audi A4. I didn't really do any mods to it, but I put like black rims on it, and that was like the most I did to it. And
Right.
That's when I really started feeling like, man, I made like that feeling of, this is my own car now, even though it's something really minor, but the reward you get from that, and it just kind of spiraled after that I just wanted to do more. I wanted to get all these dream cars. I always had a bunch of dream cars. They were never exotics, they were never luxury. They were all like muscle cars, and all that type of stuff. But I guess like college is when it started to become a pretty big deal for me.
College, right?
Yeah.
No, that's where a lot of people, find out different things about themselves, not just their majors. Brittany, do you have anything to add on that? How was your introduction to the car scene? Was it a little bit different? Same way, a little bit maybe earlier on, before high school, after high school? How about you?
So it's kind of similar, not in the same way, but when I was a little bit younger, I grew up in a family where I was one of the only girls. I had a lot of like guy cousins, brothers, but never really girls to be around. So they all like cars. They used to take me like to the track when they would go to race and stuff, and I would always be like, oh wow, they're going so fast, that's so cool. Then I think once I was about like maybe 10 or 11, I actually got to ride with one of them, and after that I was like hooked. Like the adrenaline rush that I got, it doesn't leave you. It's something that you'll always remember. So that kind of is what really got me into wanting to see what cars is all about. And I got my first car when I was 18? I was 18.
Mhm.
I didn't really know much about cars, but my brother did, and he used to go to like these car shows and like these big like stadiums and stuff, and he would take me. And one thing about him, he was very like open to me asking questions and stuff, so he would teach me everything that he would know, and he introduced me to a lot of his friends, and they were all like welcoming and everything. So I guess I was in an environment where everyone was willing to help me learn about something that I wanted to learn about, and that's kind of what got me to fall in love with cars.
That's good. You had a really good introduction into the car scene. It was really welcoming for you. So you had a pretty positive outlook on everything so far, right? Like more or less?
Yes.
Good. Diana, would you like to touch up a little bit more on that? How did you feel like, your personal experience was meeting new people that were interested into the same things as you, cars, JDM, whatever it is? How did you feel about that and attending maybe like car events with it?
So I fortunately had a really good introduction into the car scene. I have been surrounded, like till this day, with really nice people that have been really open, and they haven't been judgmental, and I haven't really experienced any sort of hate towards myself, at least. I've experienced like a lot of really sweet people. I've met really awesome people who are really passionate about this, and once you have that same passion with someone, you kind of just click all of a sudden. So I haven't really experienced any sort of hate, in my opinion. It comes more like the hate comes more online, but that's a completely different topic.
Right.
But personally, it's been a really good experience going to meets and kind of connecting with those types of people. I've made really good friends from that. I have really close friends right now just because we were all into cars. So yeah, it's been a pretty good and positive experience.
Brittany, if you want to start with that.
So I'll be honest, I'm online all the time, and cars, like, that's one of the main hobbies that I have. So it's a lot of what I talk about and what I'm like interested in, what I interact with. So sometimes I'll wanna, put my 2 cents into something that I see online, and I'm somebody that I kind of know what I'm talking about usually. So a lot of people, when they see that, they're like, oh, she probably they'll assume that I Googled it, or I asked my boyfriend if I have a boyfriend, or they'll never think that it's purely because I just know that information and that I genuinely like cars. They'll always try to pin it on something else about me, not just me, for I don't know how to describe it. Do you know what I'm talking about,
That's
Diana?
100% true. I mean, I could get into it, but I don't want to cut you off if you.
No, I feel like I can't find the right words to describe it.
I mean, I think that the online car community and the in-person car community, two completely different worlds. I personally, one of the biggest setbacks for me to start getting into the car scene, or even considering, I still don't have a car page, or even considering sharing my, pictures of my car or stuff like that, have been because of the hate I've seen online in the car scene, and particularly towards women in the car scene. I've seen so much hate for women in the car scene. No matter what it is, they always find something to pick on, whether it's the color of the car that they chose, their transmission choice, their mods, their whatever. They always find a way to pick on women, especially. I mean, it's kind of in general. I've seen that people pick on others for what they do with their car, but it's almost like that women in the car scene have to prove themselves twice as hard as men. I hate to say that, but I've seen that personally, is that like they think that, oh, she drives a nice car, oh well, it's automatic, or she drives a nice car, oh, but it's bright pink, or all that type of stuff. And they think that, oh, she's doing it for clout and not for the genuine enjoyment of it. I've seen so much hate towards women online, and I genuinely hate that. And like, back to what Brittany was saying, is that they think that you don't actually like for me, this is one of my biggest passions. I actually get really excited talking about cars to other people. I get excited working on my car. I get excited to do stuff to my car. I'm not doing it because I care about others' opinions. I don't care about that. But like, they think that when they see a girl who's into cars or something like that, they think that it's because her boyfriend's into it. Oh, because she's trying to whatever show off or whatever. I get what you're saying, Brittany, and I think that that's one of the biggest problems, is that they don't like a lot of people. I don't want to generalize for all, because a lot of my friends that are into the car scene are guys, and they've been great people, really supportive, but they don't think that, like, a lot of people don't think that women who are in the car scene are doing it for the genuine enjoyment of it and the genuine passion of it. And that's one of the biggest problems. They think that like they're doing it to impress guys or whatever. Like,
As you said, like when you were
Yeah.
saying, oh, if you say like, oh, the car is, oh, that's a nice car, oh, but it's automatic, or but
Yeah.
it's bright pink. It's
Mhm.
always they'll find a but
Yes.
for whatever good
Exactly.
thing you have, you know? They'll always find something to contradict the good things that you do, and they'll never genuinely believe that you're in it just for the pure enjoyment of it. They'll
Uh-huh.
always find something negative to, try
Yeah.
to discourage you. And
Yeah.
sometimes having that discouragement, like that kind of keeps you wanting to learn more. And
Oh, of course.
like you'll end up surprising people with how much more. I know some of my guy friends don't even know as much as I do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll end up being the person having to teach them about something. And
Yeah.
I've luckily been around people that like, are willing to teach me. So like
Yeah.
learning all of this, I'm willing to teach some of my guy friends, and they hit me up to ask me questions. I'm like, yo, I love giving you this information, and it surprises them that a girl can like,
100%.
genuinely know these things.
I think it's interesting because I think nobody understands that everybody starts somewhere, that we were all at a point, everybody who's in the car scene, we were all at a point where we knew nothing about cars, where you would be talking to someone who obviously knew what they were talking about, and you would just be like, what are you saying? What does that mean? Nobody understands that. And I think the thing is that it's accepted sort of for guys to get into cars at a young age. But I think a lot of the holdback for women to get into the car scene, I saw a TikTok once, and I hate to bring that in there, but it's really relevant, of a woman who is saying, I wish more girls were into the car scene. And then another girl was responding that the reason other...
Oh, I remember seeing that video.
the
Yeah,
reason...
and there was just the comments flooded with people saying like, well, "We're here, but you know."
Well, it's not necessarily that. The video's point was that car guys can be really mean. Like some people,
Very accurate.
and I guess maybe not necessarily just car guys, because I've seen a lot of women hate on other women in the car scene, but people in the car scene can be super, super mean. And that can be a huge setback for someone, that you don't want to be bullied online, or you could be into cars but you never tell anybody about it because of the hate you're going to receive or something like that. And that's kind of like a big setback for why a lot of, I'm personally speaking, but maybe for why a lot of women don't want to be involved in the car scene, because of that hate and because of how excluded they'll feel. I think
Diana, sorry to like cut you off there, but yeah, but that exact thing is what I wanted to bring up when Brittany brought up her point, that it's still guys in the car scene kind of try to like discourage her by saying like certain things, or like it just made her not feel as welcome as if they just said positive things, right? And Brittany, I know you're the type of person that you don't really care what other people have to say. Like you'll do you'll just go for it and everything. But like maybe for someone that's trying to get into the car scene, but they're a little bit more timid, a little bit more shy, I think it kind of shies them away from trying to join the car scene or a new niche, because they might feel, pushed out. They might feel outcasted. And I think it loses that's a lot of the people that may want to join. It's not even just women, right? It's people in general. A lot of people get pushed out of the car scene because they might get a negative experience, and that negative experience can linger with them for X amount of time, and then they just never decide to join back. But I do think it's way more prominent with women, right? That guys always stereotype something that, oh, you're in the car scene because you're a boyfriend. Oh, that's probably your boyfriend's car, or X, Y, and Z. And it kind of just makes you not want to be in the car scene if you're more timid, unless you're like Brittany.
I feel like guys try to like gatekeep the community a little bit in a certain way, and it kind of sucks for like people that want to get in, especially since like cars, most people have a car. If you think about it, there's 3 or 4 cars in every single driveway, regardless if it's like a nice car or if it's like a Civic. I mean, I'm not saying like a Civic's like a bad car, but like a daily car or whatever. And if women want to learn about their cars, like they should be able to learn about their cars. I don't know why guys aren't more willing to teach the women in their life about their cars. It's really not a community that should be gatekeeped.
100%.
I wanted to mention that too. I wanted to get your input on it, both of you guys. If you think it's because the car community is already such a male-dominated space that's why they kind of just gatekeep it in a way. I don't think all guys are like that, right? Not every guy tries to not let you come in and enjoy like the car scene. But do you think that's like a main reason why there's such a male dominated space already, that they kind of don't want to change it to being both male and female?
Yes, it's kind of like how not I don't want to say sports, but like certain sports, like if like say like a girl tries to talk about football, since like girls don't play football. Like if you try like they don't expect a girl to know about something like that. So if say she tried to talk up about them, like talk up about something in that like genre, like they might not listen to her. Like I've had it happen to me where I was in a setting where it's like a group of guys who say might not have known me that well, maybe at like a car meet or something, and they're talking about something specific that I might know about, and I'll try to like throw my 2 cents in there, and it's like my voice gets lost in the conversation, no one heard me, and they'll just pretend they didn't hear me, and I'm like okay, and then I'll try to say it again, and they're all trying to find the answer to this question, but here I am giving them
You
the
know,
answer, but no one's listening to me, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
maybe it's because I'm a girl. So I'll tap the person next to me, tell them, and then when they say it, it's like, oh, big revelation. I was like, wow, it's really just because I'm a girl trying to say this, and I think that that's a big issue. They think that only guys should know about this, and they don't realize that a lot of girls do know about it, since it's already such a male-dominated, genre of.
I think it has to do with like more of. I don't think that guys necessarily don't want us to join. I think it's more of that they have this stereotype, or some guys have the stereotype that women shouldn't be in it, or that it should be just a male dominated field, and because it is mostly a male dominated field, that they already have like this thing ingrained in them that it's like, oh, she's not really gonna know about this, or she's not, her opinion doesn't matter. Or obviously not all guys are like that, but I think it's more of just like, hey, this is our sort of thing. We don't want to share it with anybody else because we're scared it's going to become something else. Or I think it's more of like fear of losing that sort of community, because it is a really great community. It's really in the true like essence of it, it's a beautiful community. Everyone's really supportive. Everyone's always passionate about their builds, showing off your build to somebody else and them just complimenting it, or them giving you advice about it. It's a really, really beautiful community. I think that they're scared maybe that they'd lose that if they let more women in, but I think that if they just maybe some people open up their eyes and say, hey, these girls are actually really passionate about it. Why don't we let them in and grow our community even more and make it bigger? Than I think it's also maybe that they want to keep it unique and small, but I don't know. I don't know.
To add to that, also, everything said, I do feel though, I feel like it has been changing a little bit.
Yeah.
It has been, it became a lot more welcoming recently.
Oh.
And I feel like that's having to do with, I don't want to say the pandemic, but like the last like 2 or 3 years, I've seen a lot more girls come into the car community. And it's not something that, people are gonna.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Yes, it's not, because again, it's a vehicle. It's horsepower you're dealing with here. It's nothing light. It's not like we're going to like a knitting class or like yoga, so you have to put yourself out there. It really isn't for the part. And even if you're shy, talking to one person could lead you to meeting 10 other people. One person might invite you out to like, oh, we're going to a cruise, you want to come, and then you meet 5 of their friends. There you go, you met 5 new people who might introduce you to 5 other new people, and now you have a little community. It's something that you meet people very easily. So once you meet that one person that can introduce you to everybody, you're set. You just have to make that first step to put yourself out there.
I think it's
100%.
interesting because I think a lot of people, like when you were talking about how it's changed within the last few years, I think that's 100% true. I think a lot of people confuse the online car community with the actual car community, because online it's completely different than in person. I've only met super sweet people in person. Nobody's ever talked down to me. Nobody's ever, I guess, been sexist in a way. All the guys I've met that are in the car community have been super sweet, super welcoming, have treated me as their equal. I think a lot of people, they're reluctant to get into the car community because they confuse the two, the online community and the actual community, and it kind of pushes them away from getting involved in that.
That's a really good point, because what you see online 9 times out of 10, it's not what it's like in person.
Yeah.
You may see like some similarities, some things that might happen online, some things that do happen in person, but most of the time, the people you'll meet, you'll have pretty good experiences. There's definitely areas where you'll meet people that maybe just aren't the best, but most of the time they're passionate about what they do, and they're willing to help people get involved.
Again, to add on to that, so how long ago? This was about 3 years ago. Before I really knew a lot about cars, I went to a lot of car meets still, just like, put myself out there. And I saw this GTR one day, and I was just like really admiring this thing because I'd never seen one this color. It was like a color shift. And I found the guy who owned the car, and I was like, wow, this is a really nice car. And everyone was just asking him to like rev it. So he was like, oh, you want to go do it? I was like, oh my God, I've never sat in one of these. Like, I'm so scared. I was like, literally just because I talked to him about it though, and I was there at the right time, at the right moment, and he offered me to do that.
Yeah.
Something I'd never done before. And that was one of the best days of my life. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, this complete stranger's just letting me sit in his car and send it for a crowd. I was like ecstatic, but just because I made that decision to talk to a stranger.
Yeah, you have to. I think that's a really good point, that you have to put yourself out there. If you don't willingly get involved in the car community, then you're not really going to get anywhere. You have to talk to people. Like I remember, I'm trying to get a set of wheels for my car, and I remember seeing a lot of people with this particular set of wheels, and I would message them on their Instagram, and through that we started talking. I made a lot of friends through that, just messaging people on Instagram, talking about their wheels. And if I would have never messaged them, I wouldn't have really made friends like that. So I think that's a really good point.
I completely agree. I also think that goes for even people that want to reach out to big companies for sponsorships and stuff, reaching out to anyone in the car community, because I feel like the car community in general, regardless if it's on a big scale or a small scale, it's a very close-knit community. So I've had situations where I've reached out to these companies where I'm like, oh yeah, they're never gonna DM me back or respond to my email. And you'd be so surprised. They'll respond back within hours, and they're happy to help you or answer your questions or offer you opportunities to do things or sponsorships or whatever you're looking for. And I feel like that's a big preconception about the car community, that it's kind of scary, but it's really close-knit and everybody's willing to help everyone in it.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because I think when you think about, I'm sorry, Diana.
No, it's okay. Keep going.
I was just going to say, when you think about the car community as a whole, right, compared to maybe other hobbies or things like that, it might not seem like the largest, but we definitely are the most connected, I think. We definitely share a passion much stronger than some other hobbies out there. And I think when people start realizing the type of connections you can make with people personally, it's a lot easier to get, your foot in the door with whatever you're trying to do.
I think that it's a really nice community, because people, when someone's passionate about cars, they're passionate. They're super passionate. You ask somebody about their build, they will not shut up. They'll just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And I think that's people's online persona is completely different than the person themselves. Because I've met a lot of people who seem really mean, I guess, online, but when you talk to them in person, they're super sweet. They just really want to talk to you about their car. And I think that's a big misconception, that people think that, oh, their online persona is who they actually are, when in reality a lot of these people in the car community, they're super sweet, and they really just want to talk to you about their car, and they want to share their passion with you.
Yeah, I 100% agree. People that are really into their car, they're gonna want to talk for hours,
Yeah.
and they're really down to earth people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just gonna be cool the entire time, at least in my personal experiences. I also wanted to take this time to actually bring up, what do you guys think is good advice for people that are getting into the car community, right? Like, let's say it's your first time going to a car meet, it's your first time meeting new car people, like things like that. What would be like a piece of advice you would give to like a newcomer? I think the one-on-one aspect there too, with messaging people, it changes it too,
Yeah,
because when you talk online, right, or when you go online, like let's say like Instagram, TikTok, or something like that, and you look through the comments section, it's kind of just people writing what they would want others to see.
hmm,
They're more interested in how people are going to react to what they say. But when you're messaging someone privately, you're getting just one-on-one conversation, and they're going to be more who they are. Even if it might be a little bit different, they're generally going to be nicer because, there's no one watching what they say to you or anything like that. And I think that definitely changes up the type of people you meet online as well.
Hmm.
It's a tough one, right?
Oh yeah, it is a kind of tough one because not, again, I'm somebody who I don't really mind putting myself out there, but again, not everyone's like that. So,
Yeah, there's definitely some shy people out there, so
and
I
not
guess
just
it
anything,
applies
most
to the
people
person.
are like that. They're on the shyer
yeah,
side.
Yeah.
Car people, regardless of whatever car the person might own, they're always welcoming of any type of car, any kind
yeah,
of build. It's a community, it's not just, oh, muscle versus JDM versus Euro. It's we all enjoy each other's cars. So being able to just appreciate somebody else's build might create the opportunity for them to, ask about yours, and then, hey, you have a new friend. That's what I would do personally. I would walk up to
yeah,
somebody that I really like their car, be like, "Oh, yo, dude, that's a nice wrap you have," or, "Yo, those wheels are nice," and get them to talk about their car, and then they're probably gonna ask about yours, and before you know it, you made a new friend. It's
yeah.
it's as
Yeah.
easy as that. It's really not that scary. I know it sounds scary just, walking up to a stranger, but it's
Yeah,
never
a lot of people I
they're
don't
not
think want to
gonna
make that
bite.
first step.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like, all right, if you're not like Brittany, right, that you're not just the type of person that'll walk up to a stranger, you might be looking at them from a distance and think, oh, if I say the wrong thing to them, maybe like some people have like mean mugged faces, right?
Yeah.
So you might think that when you walk up to them, they're going to just, spit in your face or yell at you. No, they're going to be really nice most of the time. 9 out of 10 times you'll meet the person, they'll want to talk about their car. If you just bring up any kind of subject, you'll just point out something about their car or just ask them a question maybe, and then they'll be really nice about responding 9 out of 10 times.
So, I think that's really, really good advice, and I'm gonna give some advice for someone who's kind of on the shyer side or just doesn't put myself out there as much. Um,
Yeah.
I think that first of all, actually putting yourself out there and talking to someone, even just bringing up like a little detail, like saying, "Hey, I like your wheels," or "I like this part," or whatever. Um, most of the people are going to respond really well, and they're going to be really chill about it. But I think like the biggest thing in the car scene is that, personally, this is my biggest advice to anyone. Um, Stay true to yourself and stay true to what you like. Don't get caught up in a hype, or don't get caught up in what other people are doing or what other people like. If you like muscle cars, go for muscle cars. If you like JDM cars, go for that. If you like Euro cars, go for that. If you like Civics, go for a Civic. It's really up to you. Um, Stay true to what you like. Do what you like. Like with my car, I was debating a bunch of things on my car. Um, I've seen a lot of people with like the type of look I was going for. A lot of people told me, don't do this to your car. I don't like the particular details you added. And, like, I'm talking like solely about cosmetic parts. Like, I wrapped it in the satin black wrap. The aftermarket pieces I put. A lot of people said that they didn't like that. But at the end of the day, I really didn't care about what they thought. I was really proud of my builds, and I'm really proud of all the work I put into it. And I know that every time I look at my car, I'm really proud of what I've built, and I know that it represents who I am. And at the end of the day, it is your car. Nobody is really going to care about it as much as you are. So don't get caught up in what other people think about your car. Do what makes you happy, even if that means like controversial things that other people might not be okay with or hate. It doesn't matter. It's your car. You're the one who's building it. You're the one who's driving it. Those other people, at the end of the day, they're not going to stay in your life, and you're the one who's going to be happy about your build.
I agree with that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, At the end of the day, you're going to be the one that's in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
You're going to have to be driving everywhere you go, and you have to be happy with what you're building. If you're just building something for other people to look at and to be happy about, you're not doing it the right way, because that's not going to get you happiness. That's not going to get you friends. It might get you like some people talking about your car, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be happy with it.
I would say that, again, you have to remember that.
I wanted to give this final moment for us to, or for me to allow you guys to plug your social medias, give yourself personal shout outs, thank anyone that you want to thank, and last few words to the audience.
So my Instagram is Brittanys_300ZX. My TikTok is my full name. It's Britney Sukan. You can find me on any other platform with my full name. I just want to say thank you to all my friends that are just always ready to come and help me when something goes wrong with my car, or if I have a question, or even if I just can't pick a color, they'll just give me advice and they'll help me get out whatever little funk that I'm in. I can't believe how welcoming the car community is, and I've made some of my closest friends through liking cars, and I'm just so grateful for everybody that I've met along the way.
So I don't actually have a car page, but I'm working on getting one together. I'm just working on getting a few more little parts for my car before I show it to the world. But my personal Instagram is just my first and last name with 3 underscores in between it, or I guess 1 between each my name. I'm hoping to get a car page started soon. But yeah, I just want to thank Eli for having us on this podcast, and I want to thank all my friends for being super welcoming, and I'm really glad to have gotten involved in this community. It's a really welcoming community. It's a super big part of my life, and I can't imagine where I'd be without it.
Well, I want to take this time to thank you guys so much for coming on, speaking your thoughts. It was a really interesting one, and I think this podcast was much needed. It was able to air out some thoughts that I had and some topics that I was glad to get your perspective on. I want to thank everyone for joining me for another great episode on the Blue BRZ podcast. Remember that you can join our guest list by emailing bluebrz@gmail.com or messaging me on Instagram at bluebrz.here. Don't forget to come back next week for our next episode on running a business. I'm Eli, wishing you all a lovely night. Take care, everyone.